Hey guys, welcome back to Arry the Stag. TR Tony here, sat on the M27 somewhere in December in a very wet and windy environment. Nice and warm in here in the car anyway, just on my way to a day's consultancy with my day job. Just want to check in. It's the fourth video now that I'm doing on the Stag and putting the antifreeze specifically back in to the car now we've having flushed it through. The only thing is I've created a bit of a storm and I'm going to share it with you. Not sure I've got the right answer, and I'm open to suggestions and ideas from all of you guys, because what I want to know is what is the best practice for Triumph Stags. Now, what I've done a week ago is refill ours, and I've filmed it and I'll show you in just a moment, with some antifreeze, the type I'll tell you about in just a second. But I had an email in from a guy called Jeff the other day, and one or two others saying, for goodness sake, please do not put in pink antifreeze into your car, modern antifreeze, because apparently the rumours are that it will potentially damage the engine or damage the radiator or whatever. So obviously with my kind of schedule, I've done the antifreeze change, and I'll show you this anyhow. But I asked out a few times to different people around the world, various technical inputs, and I'm still not sure quite what the right antifreeze is. There's a school of thought that says you should use the traditional blue glycol antifreeze that's been around for years, but equally there's much argument, I suppose, about the modern kind of antifreeze that you may want to use as well. Some say it will dissolve engines and dissolve solder, others say yes it does, but only in 1920s cars. So whatever we've done, we've put the pink antifreeze into our Triumph Stag, and I'm not too worried right now, without being arrogant, because literally it's going to be in there for about 3 months through the winter, and then we need to do the car again with the heater valve change and flush it all through. So it will be an opportunity to get it right. But I just thought I'd put it out there. I thought, if we're struggling, what on earth are other Stag owners thinking about worldwide? Now, I know there's going to be loads of comments on this, and there'll be strong opinions one way or the other, because I've already found that out. But I'm really intrigued and interested to know finally what the actual truth of the right antifreeze for these cars is, so that we can all get it right going forward. Anyway, let me just show you what I did. I'll walk you through the final stage. It is the fourth in 4 videos we've done on cleaning out the radiators and the engine and flushing it all out. If you've not seen those before, go back and have a look on the channel. But let's go and have a look at the car, and I'll show you what I've done to get it back up and running, ready for winter. Okay, so as many of you know, UES 591S has been in our house for just over a year. We weren't too sure quite what antifreeze was in there before. We're pretty sure there was some pink antifreeze when we drained it. You would have seen that in the first video. This is the 4th video in the series, so if you missed out the other 3, please go back and see the overall process. But either way, we're here to try and now put the antifreeze in, change the thermostat and put that back in, and get us ready for winter, which is upon us right now, as we all know. So as before then, back to the car itself, and just going to open it all up. It's pretty easy to do these days, so I'm getting more used to it, and finding the boot release mechanism, which is the passenger side in the UK, to pop the bonnet. Again, as ever, remembering to lift the bonnet from the centre to stop it flapping about and possibly damaging any side wings or the various places it goes into. And once again, here is the engine. It's been using the rad flush, as we know. I've now got to undo the Jubilee clip I've just pointed to access with the, in this case I'm going to get the hose and my gizmo, which you will have seen in previous films, to try and funnel some of the rad flush and dirty water out of the system. A very simple idea, just using cable ties to hold the funnel in place and make sure that most of the water goes out of the car and into some buckets below, which I'll show in just a second. Obviously you've got to undo the Jubilee clip, which is pretty straightforward, just using a flat head screwdriver and with a bit of jiggery pokery and some gentle persuasion, because it's been off a few times now. You can simply just remove the pipe away from the top of the radiator with a little bit of gentle persuasion, as I say, and there you go, it all comes out, which is great. So a little bit of residue water coming out there, still with a rad flush in it. What I need to do is to hook up the garden hose. I'm back flushing this, but before I do that, I just need to make sure that the buckets are suitably in position to receive the the garden hose off the bottom of my gizmo so that the coolant doesn't go all over the driveway. You've got to get rid of this responsibly as well, so I'll be doing that down our local tip. Here is the adapter for the garden hose, which I managed to persuade my wife that I needed, and I've just screwed it in very gently with the Jubilee clip just to make a bit of a seal. In fact, the bottom part of the pipe on the brass there isn't that well connected, but in any event you'll see it in a minute. But the water then comes through, so now I'm flushing out the rad flush and the water that's been in the system for a little while, going through, cleaning it all out. And as you can see here, the water doesn't look too bad apart from the leak on the hose, which you've just seen, and that's now coming out and down and underneath. So I'm reverse flushing. I think, as you can see in the buckets below, quite a collection of dirty water, so you just got to persevere as we've done before by hosing down, filling up your buckets. I think this was second if not third attempt, and anyway, you can just see the water getting clearer and clearer as you keep repeating the process. And quite dirty, mucky stuff. I beg your pardon, that was only the second bucket as a signal to myself to remind myself what stage we were at, and this was the fourth time. So again, it's getting clearer, but not totally. So just keep going and keep going until finally, as you can see here, you've got a bit of clear water going through. I also recommend blowing it as well, just to kind of blow out any gunk. And of course, not forgetting the expansion bottle with the expansion top. Don't forget, once you've cleaned it, we need to be using the deionized water such that it doesn't calcify inside. And of course, now what I need to do is to get the thermostat back in place, and to do that I've got to remove the air filter, which is a bit of a fiddle, but with some gentle persuasion comes off. Removing the feed pipe from the top of the engine, which does the butterfly adjuster in the top of the air intake when it gets hot. You can just see there. If not, go back to the second video. I think I just covered that, which opens up hot air to come into the intake. And there, what I'm looking at then is the cover for the thermostat housing on the front top of the engine. It's held by two very simple bolts, which you just need to undo with a very basic kind of 1/2 inch socket set. Some use a kind of 3/8 one, but this one works fine. Remembering it's the reverse on the other side as you go through. But once you've done that, you can then remove it by hand, just by undoing the two bolts, and it should just break away. Sometimes a bit of a clack with a little bit of wood and a small mallet-like tap will actually release it, because often these are held in with bits of mastic. And looking at this one, you can see there's a cork kind of, well, it is a gasket material in between the two metal facings, and I quite like this Loctite flange sealer, which kind of hardens and dries over a period of time, but is designed to keep water and gunk from leaking out. Here is the thermostat, which you will have seen in my previous film, and it sits facing you at the front top of the engine, and I've just smarmed a little bit of that Loctite sealant around the place on both mating surfaces, such that we've got a good watertight seal when it all goes back into place. I can now remove my super patented gizmo, which as you can see, one of the zip ties here peeled off, but anyway, we can take that off, so that's all good. And out goes the Alto gizmo, which can come in handy for a future job, I'm sure. I won't throw that away. And now what we're going to do is put back the thermostat and the top hose to the front of the engine, which you can see here. I'm just relocating a bit like an Apollo space rocket, just docking in the bay there, and simply just start off the bolts by hand, and you'll quickly find the thread, and you can tighten up the two bolts there. Don't over tight, but a nice good tight fit, watertight, as I say, with that seal, and you can just see it seeping out the sides. Again, back to the deionized water. I think I had 15 litres of this stuff from Halfords. It's not very expensive to buy. The capacity, I think, is about 10.5 litres in the Stag. Take away any antifreeze that you put in. This was the antifreeze that we selected, 5 litres, more than enough to give almost a 50-50 split. Actually, 1/3 to 2/3 is about right from what I'm hearing from the technical guys. Either way, it's got to have the ethylene glycol content, and you'll see front and back end of this video the discussion to be had on what type of antifreeze to use, but this had the pink antifreeze in it in the first place, and you can see there the temperature, frost protection that it will give you depending on the mix that you give it. And so back to the car, we tighten up the Jubilee clip and make sure that we've got that nice and watertight and pressure tight, remembering it's about, I think about 20 pounds per square inch, don't quote me, but there's quite a lot of pressure in there that goes. And then of course just releasing the brass stopper at the top of the radiator, into which then you pour your mix of antifreeze and water until you've got it pretty much as full as you can. You can see here, there you go, that's looking pretty much full. There's bound to be some airlocks in there inevitably. You can see it bubbling a little bit there. So having done that, what we then need to do is think about topping everything up, and how to do that, we need just to start the engine. So choke on, a little bit of accelerator, and off we go to start the car, and all running tickety-boo, straight from cold, which is always a good sign. And then jumping out of the car, back to the front of the engine, I do struggle at the age of 59 that I am, to under the bonnet again, where we can see the engine is running and already the level has dropped just slightly. So the idea is just to top this up as you go through the process. It burps any loose air, but now it's got the antifreeze in, you can see now it's starting to bubble over, so it's reaching some pressure, and with a little bit of rev of the engine is really blowing stuff through, popping up any caught bubbles that may be in there. And again, you can see there it's just dropped again. So just ongoing topping up, refilling to make sure that you're topped up. And that expansion bottle typically should be about half full according to the manual. And obviously once you get it up to the level that you want, tighten it all up and dry it all off, and make sure that it's nice and watertight. And you have a tickety-boo car, hopefully, fixed for the winter protection. It doesn't get too cold down here in Bournemouth, but we're on the south coast of England, for those that don't know, worldwide, and so we do benefit from the Azores heat coming up. But and then of course we've got to get the hot air tube fitted back into the base of the air intake, such that that is all now going to work, and we'll open up with hot engine heat coming up, air heat coming up, and allow more hot air to go into the air intake, and we are done. Happy days, we have fixed it at last, set for winter. All right guys, so that's been very interesting to review. I'm sure, as I said at the front end, we'll get lots of opinions, views and comments on the channel about pink or blue. From my point of view, I just want to make the point that the pink stuff we did use actually does have ethylene glycol in it, so I'm a bit confused as to which one is best. I will take advice, obviously. From our point of view, we'll now need to change this over anyhow, as I said at the front of the call, because the heater kind of control is broken, and we need to flush it all out and do it all again. So either way, it's only going to have to last for 3 months just to get it through the winter, the freezy bits, to get out the other side. So I can't imagine it'll do too much damage to the engine, even if it is something that you shouldn't put in there. Also, the car actually had the pink antifreeze in it before we flushed it, right from the word go. So, and I'm hearing that swapping the two types over isn't supposed to be very good. You must make sure it's all cleared and flushed before you go from blue to pink and pink to blue. I think there's one way that you can do it, but the other way you can't. So there's lots of kind of confusing messages about this, and I just think it's worthwhile us talking about it, and hopefully getting some consensus about what is the right way to look after our lovely Triumph Stag engines, because the last thing I want to do is mess them up. But at least it's safe now. UES 591S is safe in the winter from frost, and that's number one priority. And appreciate, you know, maybe down under right now it's probably 35 degrees plus, so maybe that's not an appropriate use of time. But nevertheless, guys, I'm sure winter won't be far away. 6 months, we'll be coming back up to summer soon. It's the depth of December is at the front end of the film, so looking forward to that. Brighter days we can get out with the car and the roof down and enjoy some sunshine, unlike today, but never mind, I digress. Okay guys, so thanks for watching, really appreciate all your input. Please feel free to comment below. Don't forget to sign up for your badge of honor. It's a free sticker you can put on your windscreen. Just go on our website. I'll put a little link in the video below so you can sign up for that. Also, on a Saturday we do a Saturday Sockets email, which is our off camera shenanigans that we get up to. So again, sign up for that if you want, free of charge, and you'll get that through to your inbox every Saturday. And people seem to be really enjoying it, and we're also reliant on loads of stories too, guys, as well. So if you've got any videos, any photos, any stories, any exciting challenges you're up against, please do feel free to share them with us, because we're always interested to see if we can help, and also share that information as well, which is all about the Arry the Stag sharing the classics dream, which is our strapline. Good stuff. Okay, well, I hope you have a great week. Thanks for all your messages and kind words of support. Really appreciated it. And we will see you online on Arry the Stag very soon. All the best. Cheers for now. And finally, last but not least, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Bob, who has sent us this week a couple of rear wing badge holders very kindly in the post. Totally unexpected, very, very much appreciated. If you followed the video from last time I was down at Allen's, you'll have seen that we were using the front ones to kind of size up the holes. So Bob, thank you very much indeed. And also, it'd be very remiss of me not to say big thanks to Dave as well, who's recently come back from the US, who in the post, unannounced, sent us an electronic points system for UNY 49M, and so grateful, Dave. Thank you very much for that. Top work. It's such a privilege to be working with you guys around the world, and I know that we're sharing this classics dream together, and that kind of generosity, really, really appreciated. So thanks, guys, and you deserve all the credit. So well done. Thank you very much.